Yeshua, otherwise known as Jesus, had a secret. And the world is still learning what that secret is. And that secret is still hidden from many of the people who walk this planet. However, it is ours to uncover individually and collectively. Hi friends, I'm Larissa Evans of SoPeace.org. And as I was discussing in my last video on this channel, I am wrapping up a year-long journey over on TikTok, exploring the gospel according to Mark, which is currently the oldest gospel we have of Yeshua's life and ministry. I will be transitioning my efforts in 2026 back to SoPeace after taking kind of a year off and furthering the first two projects. Project one, which is all about encouraging politicians and political action committees to reduce negative advertising. And Project two, which is all about encouraging corporations to reduce executive salaries. And so as I talked about in my last video, there's some things I need to get back to work on to further those efforts. I will also be very slowly putting forth meditations here on YouTube related to the Gospel of Thomas, otherwise known as the Gospel of Didymus, otherwise known as the Gospel of the Twin. Who is the twin? Apparently the twin is Thomas, Judas Thomas. And so this was a disciple whose name was likely Judas, but was called the twin instead. Perhaps he looked very similar to Yeshua. But there were two Judases that closely followed Yeshua. And so Thomas, otherwise known as the twin, was identified in that way. So my next video will most likely be a meditation inspired by the first statement in the Gospel of Thomas. And so the Gospel of Thomas is 114 sayings that Yeshua supposedly said. And I want to impress upon you that my efforts at SoPeace are entirely related to the secret that Yeshua held, that he tried to teach to the world, that has been clouded over, mostly by the way that Paul taught about Yeshua. Paul's teachings eclipsed the true secret that Yeshua was trying to teach us. The secret is, how do we reach the kingdom, otherwise known as the quantum realm? How do we, living on the material plane, touch into the quantum plane enough to reach a state of harmony and love on the material realm? And that secret is not, if I believe that Jesus is the Son of God, I'm saved. That's what the teaching has been. It has been false. Hence why we haven't reached it yet. Hence why we are still not in a state of harmony, because we have the secret wrong. Or we could say many people on this planet misunderstand Yeshua and his secret and his teaching. The Gospel of Didymus, the Gospel of the Twin, begins with this prologue. These are the hidden sayings that the living Yeshua spoke, and Judas the twin recorded. So I have written the first one down. I'm going to be doing this with each statement. 114, so we'll go as long as we need to. I'm not going to do it every week like I've been doing over on TikTok with the Gospel of Mark. I'm just going to do it when I have a chance. So it will probably take many years. Right? So the first meditation will be about statement 1, which is unclear whether this is Yeshua speaking or the twin speaking. But I have it written down so that I can start to look at it and digest it and sleep on it and see what kind of meditation I want to create from it. But it is whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death. Or in other words, this is how you reach a resurrected state, how you enter the quantum. I've already said over on YouTube, like there's no reason, or over on TikTok, there's no reason to rush like entering the quantum realm, right? That means you're leaving the body entirely and you're done reincarnating. However, on a collective level, when we reach the balance of the quantum and the physical, we are in a state of harmony. We are in a state of peace. And that's a great state to be in for continuing to explore the universe at large, even just our galaxy and all the mysteries that lie within it. When we are whole, then we can properly explore those regions. And that's the state of development we hope that we can reach, rather than perishing in monstrosity, right? We will see through the Gospel of Didymus that the secret is we are all powerful. Each one of us could potentially be a Christ. Now, it is written that there will only be 2 Christs for planet Earth. One of them, Yeshua of Nazareth, has already been instilled. The other one is yet to be instilled. However, that person has not been chosen and sent down to the planet. That's not what happened with Yeshua. Yeshua understood the secret of entering the quantum, which is, I am powerful. And that's what So Peace is about. Right? That's why we feel confident in challenging the power structures that exist on the material realm. That's why we trust that we can capably and successfully switch the power structure from the material into the quantum. That's why we have, confidence that if we participate in something like saying, I don't like what's going on here. I don't want you to continue using negative advertising. I don't like what's going on here. I don't want you to continue to bloat executive salaries. We trust that that is worthwhile because we know that each one of us is more powerful than we could ever imagine. And so Yeshua succeeded in becoming the first Christ because he knew that. And he knew that through and through. And then, if you know the story, he went into the wilderness on his own for over a month, supposedly, and was able to enter like a quantum frequency because he protected himself from like all the others. And once he reached that quantum frequency, he was able to maintain it throughout the rest of his life. That's why he was able to, successfully bend physics on the material realm, because he was living more in the quantum realm. It's very hard to do that. Well, it's impossible to do that until you get on the right frequency, right? So that's what he was successful in doing. We don't need to do that. We don't all need to be able to go around, moving mountains, because moving a mountain is entirely possible once you step into the quantum. Literally, you can move a physical mountain in the material realm when you are anchored enough in the quantum realm. But that's not what this is about. That's not what we are going to achieve if we set our minds to it. This is about achieving harmony, right? So as cool as it is to move a mountain, it's pointless. That would cause chaos. We don't want chaos. We want order. We don't want chaos. We want beauty. We don't want chaos. We want peace. We want harmony. Right? So this is all about that secret, the secret of achieving harmony. Yeshua had the secret. The world has misunderstood the secret he was teaching. And now it is time for us, if we hope to reach harmony before we perish as a species, to understand and live that secret. See you next time.